because the market has gone through its moments of extreme fear when it comes to what the CPI could show. So, as you're flagging, you need a really, really hot print in order to upset the apple carts, and in particular equities. And that's also partly because of the Fed setup. We do have the Fed hawks saying that one of them was out again overnight, saying maybe just one cut, that's possible. Kashkari, who doesn't vote, has been saying maybe 0 cuts. But in the meantime, as former Fed member Bullard reminded overnight, the kind of official central stance is 3 cuts are coming, no rush to cut, but they are going to cut. And we don't get a major speaker between now and when the Fed goes into its quiet period later on this week, before the May meeting. So unless you're going to be willing to front run the Fed in the wake of this data and say, all right, even though the most important speakers have left us saying 3 cuts are still on the table, we're going to say they're not going to do 3 cuts because of the inflation data. So it needs to be really, really strong. And with what's going into the data, the last couple of days, some of the moves we had in Treasury yields, the way the heat has come out of that, if we get something that's in line or slightly to the downside, you could get some relief rallies, especially, as I said, in equities. All equities need is kind of the status quo, and they're happy.
Something, or a group of people would be Japanese government officials that are going to be watching this very closely. If we do get something that's in line, perhaps a little bit weaker than expected, it could perhaps drop a little bit of yen strength. But on the flip side, you've got that hotter than expected risk as well, and yen weakness and risks of intervention.
Well, at the moment, you have to think that perhaps the bigger risk for the yen is that it strengthens. We've had dollar yen go very close to 152, or even and that supposed line in the sand that's going to create intervention. And so far, even the level of jawboning hasn't really ramped up that much. And yet the line in the sand has held, and we've pulled back from it noticeably. There are a lot of yen bears out there, depending on which slices of the CFTC data you look at, the strongest bets against the yen on record. And those bets, some of those are going to be looking a bit tired. Some of those, if people are sitting on gains, they're potentially looking to take profits, and they're all wary of, in either event, if you get a soft CPI print, that brings yields down, the yen strengthens, well, you might be forced out. If there's a pop that takes it above that 152 and then you get intervention, you're threatened with getting squeezed out. So there are going to be a lot of trigger-happy yen bears willing to pull out rapidly so that they don't end up getting crushed in a squeeze if they all rush for the exits at the same time.
I already did.
Gavin Reynolds here, these are Markets Live Asia coverage there ahead of, we see lots of implications, of course, coming from that US CPI print. You can get a roundup of the stories you need to know to get your day going in today's edition of Daybreak. Terminal subscribers can find that at There We Go. It's also available on the mobile in the Bloomberg Anywhere app. You can customize your settings as well, so you just get the news on the industries and assets that you care about. Well, coming up, defense issues expecting to top the agenda during President Biden's